Possible.
I can just follow you.
Okay.
Okay, thanks. I think we're done. We're good to go.
Okay.
I'm done?
You're done. You be done.
Okay. And I'm ready to go?
Yep.
Okay. Hey, good morning. My name's Agnew, and I'm with OSU Institute of Technology, and your teacher invited me to come here today and to share with you resume development. Now, how many of you are thinking about going and getting a summer job when you graduate from high school? Cool. All right. Well, you know, in order to do that, the way that you best present yourself is through a resume. And so the importance of a resume is that it's a snapshot of you at your very best. And the other thing is it helps you to communicate your goals with other people. You know, what kind of summer job is it that you want? What are your expectations and what are your career aspirations? Is this going to be a stepping stone for you? And so those are the kinds of things that you can communicate through the resume. There are some very easy steps in order to do a resume, and I'm going to kind of go through that. But the other thing is that I want you to know is this resume development workshop isn't going to be successful unless you participate. And your participation is going to be what is going to enable you to be successful in putting your resume together. And you know, when I talk to students and I ask them, why haven't you put your resume together yet? A lot of the problem is they just don't know where to get the information from. So the very first step is kind of an unusual one. I'm not expecting you to just sit down and start thinking some things up and putting it down on a piece of paper. If you want to do a really good job of targeting your resume, then you have to identify your target. And what do I mean by that? Well, what kind of a position is it that you're applying for? To whom should your cover letter be addressed? You're going to break down a job description or the application process, and then you're going to match your particular skills and talents, because when you do that, that's what's going to help you figure out what to put on the resume, and believe me, it'll make it so much easier. So what I'd like for you to do is to kind of go to your first handout, and on the handout we're talking about the customer service representative. Okay, and I'm going to grab a marker here real quick. Okay, you all see that handout with the customer service representative? Okay, what's your name?
Tabitha.
Okay, Tabitha, would you please read the ad to me and read it out loud for the class?
Cashier at D-Berg's grocery store, Jocelyn.
No, actually, it's the ad. Turn to the back.
Oh, sorry.
That's okay.
I realized.
Okay.
Okay, the ad.
Yeah.
Okay, full-time customer service representative needed for a growing medical manufacturing company. Computer and telephone skills a must. General office duties included. Call or send your resume.
Cool. Okay. So this is a real ad that I got out of the newspaper. Okay. So this is the same exact thing you'd be doing. You'd find out about the job, and then you either through an ad or maybe you've seen something posted up on a website. But no matter what, that position description is going to tell you what are the duties and the responsibilities you're going to have in that position. So the first thing I want to do is break down that position description, and let's talk about the duties. All right? Based on that ad, what are the things you know you're going to have to be able to do on the job?
Use the telephone, the computer, and then general office duties, which is probably like faxing or making copies and things like that.
Perfect.
You need to be able to communicate well verbally and through writing.
Why do you say that? What's your name?
Kenya,
Why do you say that, Kenya?
because you're going to be a representative, a customer service representative.
Okay. So you said communication skills, so being able to talk to people.
Yes,
Would that be true of answering the phones?
that would be true of answering the questions.
Kenya, if you want to fax something, what else do you need to know how to do?
I need to be able to write the facts.
So that would be written communication skills, right? What kind of skills, Tabitha, do you think you need to have in order to use a computer?
Typing, and just typical knowledge of how to get around on the computer as far as utilizing research materials. You need to Google something or look up someone's phone number.
Okay,
address.
so really basic computer skills too, right?
Computer skills.
What else do you think you do in an office? When it says general office duties, what else do you think that might include?
Maybe help or taking maybe unhappy customers, probably complaint resolution. And making sure that the customers are happy.
That's great. Because if you're a receptionist, right, you're going to be greeting everybody who comes in that front door, right? So in addition to handling complaints and helping customers, you're going to be greeting them. And then if you don't know the answer, then you need to be able to refer them somewhere else. So greeting and complaints and helping customers, what kind of skills do you think you use in those?
Interpersonal skills.
Mm-hmm. Which we would call relationship skills, right? But interpersonal is exactly what they are, interpersonal skills. And also, again, everything comes down to being able to read or write, okay? Now, we probably do more than that in an office, but this is a great start, okay? So what we've basically done very quickly here, I mean, it's only taken us, what, less than 5 minutes, is we've said, okay, based on that ad, these are the job responsibilities we think we're going to have, right? And then based on the job, here are the skills that you need to have in order to be able to do that responsibility, right? So now you've already done two major things for your resume. You've already identified those skills that you really want to demonstrate on your resume, okay? And then you want to tie it back to how you promote yourself. So in order to figure out how you promote yourself, what you need to think about is what classes, activities, or organizations am I involved in where I'm actually utilizing those skills, okay? So let's talk about, for answering the phones and communication, what classes would you be taking where you're going to develop communication skills? What classes are you taking right now, Tabitha and Kenya, where you're using, that's right, speech. That's a great one. What else?
Office aid, part-time, like, I'm an office aide.
Great, so you already have a job doing that kind of stuff.
Well, it's part of my class. Like, I'm an office aide, so I help in the principal's office.
Great.
So sometimes I'm answering phones.
So you're actually going to, as an office aide, you do, this pretty much handles all of that, right? Because I'm sure you have students coming in and complaining about different things, right? Mm-hmm. Cool. Any other classes where you might be developing some communication skills?
Well, what about student government? Because I'm in student government.
Absolutely. Student government is a great place to develop these kinds of skills. You ever have to deal with complaints and?
Oh, yes.
Okay.
All the time, we have people complain about activities we have and dances.
Okay.
I'm the FFA secretary, so I usually have to type out everything after we have our meetings.
Great. Anything else? Communication skills, you're certainly going to get that through any organization where you're involved in working with other students and other people. You always want to make sure to put those down because you're definitely going to develop those kinds of skills when you're working in groups, right?
And with student government, with the greeting, whenever new students come on campus, we have, so would that work for the greeting?
Oh, it sure will. Because don't you're like an ambassador for the school, right? Do you kind of get a feel for how this can help you when you break something down? Okay, all right. Anybody involved with theater?
Yeah, I've been in a couple of plays.
Okay,
I'm a drama queen.
do you think you can develop that in communication skills through theater?
Yes.
Okay, so then drama can certainly help you develop all kinds of communication skills. All right? Okay, so now you've identified the duties, you've identified the skills, and then you started saying, okay, what am I doing right now that might help me with that? But what about some classes? I mean, you talked about a speech class, and then we got into more student organizations. What classes do you take? Are you all?
I'm in a computer class.
Well, there you go, see? Computer class would certainly help you in terms of that, right? Yeah.
Yearbook.
You're in yearbook?
And I have to use that for computers.
You sure do, because aren't all the layouts pretty much done through the computer? So you're on yearbook staff. Do you go around and you interview people? And okay, so don't you think that that's helping you with your communication skills? Do we have any student athletes in here?
Oh, I play softball.
You play softball. You know, one of the things about playing on a team is, can you do it by yourself?
No.
Okay, so do you think you can develop interpersonal skills when you're on a softball team?
Yes, I have to learn to get along with everybody.
Yep. Don't ever underestimate what your participation in student athletics can do for you too, okay? Because that will really help you, all right? So you see how we just took a minute to kind of demonstrate all these particular things? The other thing I would say to you is if you're in any honors courses or advanced placement courses, you definitely want to include that on your resume, okay?
So my honors English, AP English.
Well, is that going to really help you learn how to write?
Yes.
Okay, then you would put honors AP English. All right. Okay, now we've broken down the job description, okay? So we've identified who we're targeting. Now what we need to do is brainstorm on what do you think needs to be included on your resume. All right, we're putting a resume together. So what are the things that you think should go on a resume? Do you want to put your education down on there?
Yeah.
Okay, and what do you think needs to be included as part of your education?
The classes that I take that correlate with the job.
That's
that I'm
right.
trying to apply for.
You bet. Classes that are a direct correlation to the job you're trying to get.
How far back do we need to go in our education?
You know, that's a great question, Kenya, and I'll tell you why. They don't want you to go back to kindergarten. No one really cares what you did in kindergarten unless it's a situation where your involvement is particularly important to show growth. For example, you're in softball, okay? Were you involved in T-ball? Did you go to any special camps? If you're trying to go and use your resume to apply for a scholarship or to apply for, let's say, an assistant coach, okay? Then it is going to be important that you've shown your passion. Since you've been in kindergarten, you've progressed, okay, in that particular skill. Drama, if you've been going to clubs and participating in youth theater, that's going to be a great thing for you to put down. And are you guys thinking about going to college?
Yeah.
Okay, well, if you're thinking about going to college, then you're certainly going to want to put that information in there. But in terms of, this is where I went to elementary school, this is where I went, you don't want to do that. You only want to go 9th through 12th grade. So for the most part, your resume needs to focus on what you've done from 9th through 12th grade, unless you're showing a specific talent and growth in that talent, because that's relevant to the job, or it's relevant to the scholarship that you might be pursuing or the college that you're trying to get into, okay?
So if I did volunteer work for the library, is that something I want to put on there?
Yes, you certainly would want to put volunteer work down on there, because you know what? As a volunteer, you work just as hard as the people who get paid, only you're doing it for free. Maybe you're getting some hours for Honor Society, you know, you need community service hours or something, but still you should always put down volunteer work, always.
What about my brother and I, we mowed lawns since I was in 5th grade.
I'm going to put it down in the category of summer jobs, but for you, Kenya, it might not necessarily be a summer job. I mean, that might have been your actual work. So you put down paid work experience as well as volunteer work. But I want to put summer jobs separately, even though you're going to list it under one of the other two. The only reason why I say that is because I do have a lot of students that will say, you know what, I only work summer camps during the summer, so should I put down something when I've only done it for 4 weeks or 8 weeks? And my answer to you is yes, because you work, you know, that's a lot of work doing summer camps, and you have a group of kids that you're leading around, or you're in charge of an activity and you have to plan out the activities, you know, that's a lot of work, so you definitely want to put that on there. So education, volunteer work, summer jobs, work experience, what else might you want to put down on there?
Is this where you list your organizations, like your activities?
Yes.
Like that?
Yes. Extracurricular activities. I see you have a letter on your softball jacket. So you must be pretty good, huh? Is that what that means?
Yeah, I do start.
So is that something you'd want to put down on your resume, do you think?
You're a good leader.
Yeah, yeah.
What section might we call that, do you think?
Under extracurricular activities.
You can. Now I'm going to give you a suggestion, and it's only a suggestion because that's the beauty about doing your own resume, is that everybody has something different. I would suggest that you have a separate section called awards and honors. And the only reason why I would suggest that is it makes it easier to find it on the resume. If you have all your extracurricular activities and you guys are really, really involved, it's all going to kind of blend in. But someone can go directly under awards and honors and see, oh, okay, you lettered in softball, and you know, you got this leadership award through FFA, and you know, Kenya, you got an award in student government, or you know, so you could see how it might be a little bit different to separate that out. Okay, so you guys are doing really well. Now, to close it off, what might be the other thing that you would need on your resume, or maybe it's a separate page of your resume?
Like references.
You want to include references. Now, you guys, I'm going to tell you a little pet peeve of mine. I do a lot of hiring, okay? Not just full-time people, but also students. And if there's one thing that really is my pet peeve, and it just really ticks me off every time students do this, and actually full-time people as well, is, you know, you're trying to get me to hire you. So the one thing that you want to do is you want to give me as much information as possible and not make me work to get it, okay? So don't ever, ever, ever on a resume put references furnished upon request, okay? Because if I have to go back in order to get information that I need to find out if you're going to be the best candidate for the job, I've already thrown your resume away. So you always want to include that extra page of references, okay? The other thing students ask me is, how long should a resume be? Well, I would say if you're coming out of high school, you really don't need it to extend past a page, all right? Now, if you are working quite a bit and you're looking for full-time employment, you know, you could go to 2 pages. If you're going into higher ed, you probably have 1,000 pages, okay? Because that's just the nature of that particular industry. But for you coming out of high school, you don't want to extend much past 1 page. If you go to 2 pages, it's not going to keep people from reading your resume, contrary to what most people think. If you catch my attention on the first page, I'll read the second page, okay? All right, why do you think when we talk about resumes, on the resume, we'll put, okay, volunteer work. What did you do for volunteer work?
I helped with the summer reading program at the library.
Summer reading program. Okay, so Tabitha, when you were doing the summer reading program, if someone were reading your resume and they saw that you did a summer reading program, would they really get an idea of what it is that you do?
Just that I'm able to help, that I'm willing to put forth extra time to help.
Did you just read, or did you do other things too?
No, we did activities with kids.
Okay. Did you have to plan out those activities yourself?
Some of them were already planned by the employees, but we had to make sure the activities went out as planned.
Okay. Did you have a budget you had to work with?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, do you think that title of summer reading program is going to help me understand all of that?
No.
Okay. So then my thing is, why do we include duties? We include duties on a resume because that's where people can really see what it is that you did on the job. Okay? And then, why do you think we'd want to include the name of your supervisor, advisor, or customer? And if you look at your resume template, the Ann Rice resume template, you'll see that we have on there supervisor, advisor, or customer. So Kenya, when you and your brother did those, you had a lawn care business, okay? Why would you want to list a customer down as a reference?
Because it would show how we treated them and if we followed what we were supposed to do and that we did a good job or if we didn't do a good job.
That's right, because they're an excellent reference. That's why you put that information down, okay? And then we'd want to put down a club or organization purpose. So for example, if you have on there future, or FFA stands for what? Future Farmers of America? Okay, so you have FFA, Future Farmers of America. All right, if you put down just FFA, would someone understand what that is?
No.
No, you have to spell it out. And then it's probably a good idea to just have one sentence about what that organization is about.
Because we would probably want to put on FFA because they're more leadership based now since they're not farm based anymore. So we'd want to explain that.
Right, and that's why you want to list one sentence only, what the club or organization is. Okay? All right, the next thing is we want to write up responsibility bullets for the resume. What do I mean by that? Well, when we go back to the summer reading program, remember when Tabitha said that they plan out activities and they need to make sure the activities go off as planned, okay? Well, you want to include quantitative and qualitative data. What do I mean by that? Qualitative data refers to quality, so how well you do something, and quantitative refers to quantity, how much, how big, how small, how little, okay? And so it kind of talks about the scope of what you've done, all right? So I'm going to include as an example here, all right? Here's my example. Tabitha and Kenya are both competing for the same job. You guys, you currently work at a grocery store and you're not making a whole lot of money. So you're just kind of, you know, everybody else is getting more money. And you guys have really been loyal workers for this particular grocery store, but you're not getting paid a whole lot. So now this huge major national chain comes into town, and it's called Deerberg's Grocery Store, okay? So Deerberg's Grocery Store comes into town, and you're gonna do your resume. I'm gonna show you how to do the resume bullets. But when you're trying to figure out what it is that you wanna include on your resume and how to present it, we're going to use a couple of examples. So for example, what do you think what might be one of the responsibilities you have at the grocery store where you are now?
Keeping my area clean and just handling money correctly.
Right, handling money, because you're operating what, a cash register? Okay, so Tabitha, let's say that you put down, I operate a cash register, all right? That's pretty much going to give people an idea that you're going to have to handle money, right? Okay. Now, let's add some quantitative data to that. So Kenya says, you know, I do more than just operate a cash register. I operate a cash register, and by the end of the day, when you ring up my sales total and I close out my cash drawer, I have about $10,000 worth of sales coming through my line, okay? So Tabitha says, I operate a cash register, but Kenya says, I operate a cash register where I average $10,000 in total sales per day. Who looks better? Who looks better? Right, because it looks like she's dealing, you know, Tabitha hasn't put down how much, so when I'm looking at her resume, I'm thinking, wow, she has it down. Now let's say you take it a step further, okay? So now you want to add qualitative, you want to talk about how well you do your job. So now you say, I operate a cash register totaling about $10,000 in sales coming through my line with 99% accuracy when I close out my cash drawer. Now what's it telling you?
She handles the money well.
Right, she handles the money well. Do you see how much of a difference that can make? Okay, now let's take a look at that handout about Deerberg's Grocery Store. Okay? So on Deerberg's Grocery Store, you see the example there, and it says that this person's writing the resume, right? And the person needs some help revising some of the responsibilities. So taking a look at that, and let's take a look at the first one, which would be stocking shelves and straightening and tidying the area. How might we make that quantitative? So talking about quantities.
You would talk about how many, are you talking about, for example, if they were stocking paper towels, that how many quantity of paper towels they stack?
Exactly. You might say, you know, I'm responsible for X area where I stock merchandise, totaling X number of dollars, or I'm responsible for stocking and opening and setting up and displaying about, I don't know, how much would 5 boxes of paper towels weigh? Maybe they weigh like, 200 pounds. I don't know. But you do 200 pounds. Do you get the idea for that? Okay, what's the next one?
Load parcels into customers' cars.
Okay, load parcels into customers' cars. So let's talk about the quality of how well you would do that.
That would be your customer service. You do it with a smile.
There you go. That's exactly right. And that you've been employee of the month.
All
right?
the old ladies ask for me to carry their groceries out to their car.
That's right.
I'm their favorite.
That's right. That's perfect. Do you see how you make she's talking about the quality of the job? Okay, what's the next one?
Bag groceries.
Okay, bag groceries.
I can bag 6 bags of groceries in under a minute. And I can do it with putting all your breakables on top. And then make it up with your eggs safely.
And you know what? There's nothing wrong with having a little sense of humor in your resume. And that's really actually important, because how many times have your parents gone out grocery shopping and they've been ticked off because the eggs are crushed?
Yeah, they put them at the bottom of the bag.
Right, or your bread.
Bread.
Yeah, okay. So do you see the difference that that can make? Or how about this? How about if we talk about that you're so fast and efficient when you're bagging that the manager actually has you working 3 lines instead of just 1. Okay, so you see how efficient that is, so you get more responsibility. So it talks about breadth, okay? So what do you think, you guys? Is that going to help you?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so then I've given you a regular resume template, and there are a number of different ways to do resumes, but I prefer, especially for those of you just coming out of high school, a chronological format, which means you put it in order by date, with your most recent at the top and then go down. I would also recommend that you include month and years, like if you're talking about how long you've worked someplace or how long you've been in a club, I would suggest you put the month and the year, because you know what? Let's say that you started a job in December of 2000 and in January you quit that job. If you just said 1999, a person might assume that you've been there for a year when the reality is you've only been there for a month. And so that's something that people like me who look at resumes all the time, we try to look for month and year, because we know how deceiving that can be. Okay, so you always want to put month and years. If you've held an officer's position, you want to make sure and include that too. Okay, so you guys, did that help? You feel confident about putting a resume together? Okay, well what we're going to do now is I'm going to tell you a little bit about OSU Institute of Technology, and then I have some contact cards that I'd like for you all to complete. And these contact cards are simply a way for me to be able to go back to my university and let them know where I've been and who I've spoken with, okay? And I'm going to share with you how to fill out these contact cards. And I will share some information with you about OSU Institute of Technology. If you are interested in getting information about my university, I'm going to ask you to fill out the entire contact card. If you're not interested in getting information about my university, then all I want is your name. I want the name of your school and what grade you're in, or you can tell me when you're graduating, okay? That will help me to go back and say, these are the students that I spoke with, this is the school that they were at, and these are the grades that they're in, okay? OSU Institute of Technology is an institution that offers 2-year and 4-year degrees, a Bachelor of Technology in 3 different areas, as well as associate degrees. And we have a very high placement rate of our students into careers. And I'm really, really proud about that. The other thing I'm going to tell you is our curriculum changes, the way that we offer our classes, it changes based on what's happening out in the workplace, which is why our students do so well in getting hired. Because the industry partnerships that we have, how many of you think about going into computer technologies or information systems or anything like that? Okay, I see some in the back. Yeah. Okay, so you know, you guys might be interested to know that the Chief Information Officer for Google sits on our advisory board. So here's this guy from Google who's coming in, and he's working with us to make sure that our curriculum is what he wants in an employee when an employee graduates, okay, prospective employee. The other thing is that I think is pretty cool about our school is that you're going to earn money while you are going to school, because you're going to be involved in internships. The majority of our programs have internships, except for nursing, because you do your practicum when you go out. And then the other would be, I forgot what the other one was. Orthotics and prosthetics doesn't have an internship associated. Well, and watchmaking doesn't have an internship associated with it. Most of the internships are paid. In visual communication, they like to say you get paid in experience as opposed to money. But the rest of our internships are actually paid, and it's pretty exciting because you can earn money that you can then put back towards your education. But what I like to really pin down on is that you are going to be involved in applied learning. For example, I didn't just get up here and lecture you, right? We engaged in exercises and we did things to help you figure out what it is that you need to do. Well, that's what applied learning is, only you're actually working on equipment, you're actually working on computers, you're actually working on the watches. You're actually developing a multimedia presentation, okay? And that's what our school's all about, which I think is pretty cool. So it's really never boring, okay? So if you're interested in getting a college degree, if you're interested in being gainfully employed, if you're interested in getting money to go to school, then OSU Institute of Technology is probably a place that you're going to want to consider. And while we're not really small, we're not really large, so you're not going to get lost either. Our student body is about 3,000 students, and yes, we do have on-campus housing. And so, you know, you can live on campus if you want to do that and get the full internship experience. And no, unlike our Stillwater counterpart, we do not have collegiate sports. Okay, you can get involved in intramural activities, but you're not going to be involved in collegiate sports. However, if you want to drive down to Stillwater, you can, and you're more than welcome to participate that way. Okay, any questions? Nope. All right, great. Well, thank you all so much for your attention, and I'm going to have you just go ahead and fill out those cards, and if you will just pass it down to the end of the row and to the front of the row, that would be great. It's a wrap. So how long did that take me? That took less than an hour. Got them out. You're going to have to draw them out because you guys were really participating. That doesn't happen. I promise you that doesn't happen.
You talked about on the resume, one thing that confused me is you talked about having the date and the month. And the month's not on here.
Oh, I need to change that on there.
So, okay. I was like, that's going to be so confusing because I imagine don't they keep these for references? Okay.
Yep, they sure do. And then if you have time,
You know that these were different?
Oh,
Like one says maintain inventory, the other one says maintain tracking for $1 million of inventory.
so that it could show you the difference between.
What we're trying to do, show us the difference.
Yeah,
Okay.
showing the difference between quantitative and qualitative information. Now, if you have more time, then here's the presentation that we bring up about OSU Institute of Technology. And so it's rather than talking off the top of your head, if you want to use this, you can. So this is our campus, and this is just kind of an overview. This is what our campus looks like, some of our buildings, just so that you guys can see. Pretty cool. See, this is what our classrooms are like, you guys. Isn't that awesome? Who wants to sit in a building where all you're doing is just listen to someone lecture? That's boring. You can actually work on the different things that you like to do. Okay. So that's pretty good. That's some shots there, and I'm just going to go ahead and move on. And we are part of the Oklahoma State University system, so we have campuses, Stillwater, Oklahoma City, and then of course in Tulsa, OSU Tulsa, and then Health Sciences, and then of course our campus, and we have two, one in Okmulgee, which is our main campus, and then we also have another campus in Pryor. And our mission is to get students employed, help you earn your college degree and get you employed. The other thing I'd like for you to know is this is what our campus used to look like. And look at what it looks like now. Is that just totally cool? And so we are the industry's choice for highly skilled technicians, which is why our students, we almost have a 100% placement rate in about all of our programs. And we have new construction, so you guys coming onto campus now, for those of you interested in going into nursing, wow, you're going to be going into a brand new building. It is pretty cool. And then for those of you who want to know the statistics, we do have more men than women on our campus, so ladies, that might be of interest for you to know. And guys, the reason why is because we have some really cool programs and things that just generally tend to be of a little bit more interest to guys. It's about a 15-to-1 student to faculty ratio. And you can see that from on here. And again, a little less than 3,000 students total. And our academic program areas, arts and sciences, automotive technology, construction, culinary arts, and I'm going to go through all of that just so that you can see what our different divisions are. But if automotive surface technology, if any of you guys and women, because let me tell you something, it's wide open field for women in all these programs. If you have an interest in working on Chrysler cars or General Motors or Ford or Toyota, you could certainly do that here, and you'll receive your certification when you graduate. And then we have collision repair technology, so we do a Mustang makeover, and I'm going to show you, we got some vehicles that have been involved in a crash from State Farm, and let me show you how it's been repaired.
2006 Mustang today. We are prepping it, getting it ready, painting all the components off the car. Gonna sand it, all that good stuff, primer, seal, and we got Cody over here. As an example, Cody is prepping the deck lid, and that's the far driver's side door over there on the back. He's prepping it, getting it ready. As soon as he gets all that prep, we are going to paint the car as a unit so we can get rid of the tape lines and make the car look better, cleaner job. And just waiting on him to get done, and we'll start prepping that and have that in there and do the same thing.
And let me show you what the vehicle looks now. Isn't that pretty cool? So we fixed 3 of them up, and the collision technology is all about getting careers, is all about getting cars to their pre-collision shape. And in some cases, and in most cases for us, getting them to better than pre-existing condition. And yes, our faculty in this area do drive those vehicles around. No, I do not get to drive those vehicles around. Okay. Now, for those of you who are interested, you know that you want to go on and pursue a bachelor's degree, but you're really not sure if you want to be that far from home, or you're kind of thinking that you want to be in a smaller environment first and then transfer over. The Arts and Sciences Division is an area you want to consider. You can get your general education requirements out of the way. You can pursue and start your first 2 years of a business degree, or elementary and secondary, elementary and also early childhood. In construction technology, electrical, high voltage, plumbing, air conditioning, refrigeration, you want to talk about some recession-proof careers and also high-paying careers. How many of you think that you want to own your business, own your own business? You want to be an entrepreneur, okay? Well, let me tell you something. You can go to a 4-year school and graduate with your certificate and your degree in entrepreneurship, and you still won't know what you want to do for a business. You're still going to have to get a job and start working at something, or you can come to OSUIT. You can get into one of our trades, into one of our majors where you're actually learning how to do things in that area, making your contacts, going on your internship programs, and in this area within 5 years you can own your own business. You're a contractor. And then culinary arts, for those of you who enjoy cooking, and boy, we have the entire Oklahoma City and Tulsa market. The majority of the students in the top restaurants are our students. In engineering technologies, 100% placement into careers, and our students in associate degree programs, and of course we have 2 bachelor technology degree programs, they're averaging starting salaries about $55,000. Okay, and these careers are pretty much recession-proof. We like to say that they have lifetime placement, because if they ever are laid off, they can come back to the university, but hardly anybody ever does come back to us because they find jobs right away. Heavy Equipment and Vehicle Institute, where our students work on Agnew, which is an international company that provides climate control systems, so being able to take care of heating and cooling. So our students get to go to some really cool places. This year we have a couple of them that are going to be going to the Summer Olympics. We had several that worked at the Super Bowl, maintaining those climate controlled tents. We had students who had the opportunity to go to Obama's inauguration. They've been to Pro-Am golf tournaments where they've maintained the generators. So they do a lot of pretty cool stuff. Komatsu, Monotowak cranes, natural gas compression. I mean, we just have some great opportunities in this area. And again, 100% placement. And you go to school, depending on which program, you actually, within a school year or within a school semester, you're going to your internship half the time and you're in class half the time. So you're actually earning money while you're in that semester's internship. Information forensics and technology. If you're interested in working in computers, network database, programming, if you're interested in forensics, being able to track things back and how people use the computer, which is a lot of what's happening now with criminal investigations, finding out how people are using computers, this would be a great place to do that. And our students are productive from the first day on the job. Okay. The Google representative on our advisory board, they'll tell you that any other graduate takes about 18 months before they're productive on the job, but our students are productive from the first day that they go out there. By the way, starting salaries in these areas about $80,000. And we graduate them in about 3 years because we go year-round. We're on a trimester system. Nursing, what can I say about nursing? I mean, we have a shortage of nurses, and so we'd have a definite need for that. New building, you can see it going up in the background. Orthotics and prosthetics. If you're not sure if you want to go into nursing, you're not sure you want to go, but you want to get in the medical field and you want to be in a position to own your own business and you want to set your own hours and do your own stuff, you might want to consider orthotics and prosthetics. They make the prostheses to help people live a normal life as possible, especially our amputees. Oh, by the way, about 3 to 6 job offers per graduate, so 100% placement in this area. And then in visual communication, man, we have some outstanding programs, multimedia, photography, graphic design. I mean, we just have some really cool things happening here. And our students get involved in some really cool internships as well. And close to 100% placement in this area as well. And then in watchmaking, definitely 100% placement, and you could pretty much dictate where you're going to go. But our students work on the high-end watches, so the Rolexes and other watch names that I can't even possibly pronounce. Okay. So, high voltage, this is some of the pictures of our guys on high voltage. By the way, our guys who are in the high voltage program, when Hurricane Katrina came around and they needed people to go up and get those lines back up, those guys in their 8-week internship program, they came back with checks ranging for 8 weeks of an internship, $50,000 to $80,000.
Wow.
Yeah. So there's some cool stuff happening there. Okay? But I know the bell's getting ready to ring, so I thank you all very much for your attention, and make sure you get those cards back to me. And if you are interested, for seniors, if you're interested in filling out an application for admissions, there's no application fee. I'll be delighted to give you an application and get you started on that, and then I'll work with your counselor to get your transcript, and we'll see about getting your letter of acceptance to you and a scholarship offer. Okay? Thank you all very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.